The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Lead Story here on CVM. I'm your host, Daniel Archo. The Auditor General released a report calling into question the management of funds under the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development's Municipal Social Assistance Program and other poor relief and poverty alleviation programs managed by the municipal corporations. The report questions the efficacy of these programs and whether they're being managed with the principles of good governance. Trisha Gay Kelly will give us a roundup of what's in the report.
Normally hogs the news headlines, but of late, municipal corporations have been aggressively competing for their share in the news run. Over the last couple months, the KSAMC has faced much backlash over the management, approvals, and even conduct of some of its members. St. Catherine also had its moment on the front page, with investigators from the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency MOCA raiding the municipal building properties of employees in an operation just last week. A recently tabled damning Auditor General report reiterates the question: what is going on in the municipal corporations? The Auditor General's department released a performance audit report highlighting significant shortcomings in the management of Jamaica's social benefit programs administered by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. Covering the period 2017 to 18 to 2023 to 24, the report reveals systemic issues including inadequate reporting, financial discrepancies, and inefficiencies in program administration. The report found between 2017 to 18 and 2023 to 24, the MLGCD allocated $1.53 billion to municipal corporations under the ministry's social assistance program. However, the ministry failed to prepare annual reports for the entire period, only submitting reports for 2018 to 19, 2020 to 21, and 2021 to 22. This incomplete documentation hindered tracking the program's effectiveness and raised accountability concerns. Municipal corporations were required to submit quarterly progress and expenditure reports to ensure transparency and determine the effectiveness of funds distributed for social benefits. The Auditor General's office flagged widespread non-compliance, with municipal corporations consistently failing to provide the required documentation. Despite repeated reminders and reprimands, the issue persisted. In July 2024, the Ministry of Local Government mandated monthly reporting to address this deficiency, warning that non-compliance would result in withheld funding. But that seemingly was not enough to force the local corporation to get their books in order. What were some of the financial discrepancies uncovered? The Auditor General found site visits to 4 municipal corporations: St. Anne, Portmore, St. Catherine, and Kingston and St. Andrew, revealed significant variances between reported and verified expenditures. St. Anne Municipal Corporation, a 32% discrepancy was noted for 2020 to 21 and 2022 to 23, with reported expenditure of $26.6 million, but verified spending of $18.2 million. Portmore Municipality, a 33% discrepancy was found, with reported spending of $22 million versus verified expenditure of $29.2 million. St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, the variance was even more pronounced at 41%, with $125.5 million reported, but only $73.5 million verified. Additionally, the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, failed to verify 9% of payment vouchers examined, amounting amounting to $13.3 million. On the matter of imbalanced allocations and administrative oversight, from 2022 to 23 to 2023 to 24, $342.5 million was allocated across 14 municipal corporations. However, only 56% of the funds were designated for benefit payments, while 44% was allocated for administrative support, meaning the payments given to those in need of welfare support. In some cases, administrative costs exceeded benefit payments, as observed in St. Anne, where $11.5 million was spent on administrative support compared to $4.1 million in benefits. The AGD argued that the absence of a robust legal framework continues to undermine Jamaica's social benefit programs. How was this allowed to happen? We discuss on Lead Story.
We're upon the break. When we come back, we will take a deep dive into some of the key findings of the report.
Start your day with sunrise. Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. We kick things off in morning checkup. Are you powered up for the new year? Then we head to Money Masterclass. It's a Jamaica national takeover. Ever met a little genius? Well, we've got you covered in Kids Unfiltered, powered by Sunshine Snacks. From the sidelines to our studios, we bring you the 3-match netball series update. And we'll wrap things up with a 2025 fashion forecast in Styling It. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
No more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
Every dream conquered is another dream game. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction, 'cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I work so hard. And the music is to play, and the people them I say we are my show tonight. Oh, what a feeling! Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got a spark, don't fit the dark. Shine your lights
Welcome back to the Lead Story. I'm Daniel Archer. The Auditor General's report on the management of social benefits programs revealed mismanagement among the municipal corporations, with a report showing large administrative costs and very little to show for it. Let's look at what the report said. The Auditor General Department's report on social benefit programs. This made it difficult for the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development to fully track the effectiveness of the program for the period 2017 to 2018 to 2023 to 2024. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development did not prepare all the annual reports for the period to account for the $1.53 billion allocated over the period to the program. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development provided only 3 annual reports for 2018 to 19, 2020 to 2021, and 2021 to 2022. The question is, how does this happen? Why it happened? Who is affected? Why should we be concerned? And if we're talking about social alleviation programs, poverty alleviation programs, it means that if we don't know where the money is going, it perhaps suggests that the people who need it the most aren't getting the assistance that they need. The Auditor General for 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022 reports reflected expenditure totaling $144 million for only 7 of the 40 municipal corporations. The report for 2018 to 2019 did not include any information on the project's expenditure. So how do we know how much was spent? How do we know we're getting value for money? That's why these reports are important. It would be interesting to hear why it is that these reports weren't submitted. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development recognized the need for accurate and timely reporting to ensure proper accountability and has taken steps to improve reporting compliance. Over the period of 2017 to 2018 to 2023 to 2024, the Ministry of Local Government Community Development allocated $1.53 billion to municipal corporations for the social safety programs based on requests submitted by municipal councillors. The quarterly progress and expenditure reports are required to account for the monies allocated for the social benefit distribution under the various components of the program and to determine if resources were being used effectively to support those in need. However, the municipal corporations did not faithfully submit these reports to the ministry, which would outline the program's progress and expenditure. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development recognized the need for accurate and timely reporting to ensure proper accountability and has taken steps to improve reporting compliance. We look at the figure that shows the extracts of 4 letters from the Ministry of Local Government to the municipal corporations between January 2019 and July 2024, highlighting a systemic issue of non-compliance. So it's clear that the ministry recognized the need. They notified the municipalities, but there was no response. Curiously still, why did they not respond? And then you want to ask the question, what mechanisms are in place to ensure that the parish councils actually respond to the reports, to the requests for reports that are being made by the ministry? Despite repeated reminders and reprimands, municipal corporations failed to submit the reports. To address this deficiency, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development's letter dated July 17, 2024, instructed the municipal corporations to submit monthly reports effective April 1, 2024, instead of quarterly reports. The letter warned that failure to comply would result in no further funding allocation under the program. So we have an answer. The ministry did respond, they reprimanded them, and then they indicated that they would not provide them with any further funding if they did not make a report. They changed it from a quarterly requirement to a monthly requirement. Despite multiple requests, both the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development and the municipal corporations failed to provide the quarterly expenditure reports for our review. That's the review of the Auditor General. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development and municipal corporations provided the expenditure information to account for the $153 billion allocated to the MSAP program only after the adverse audit findings were presented in the draft report. However, our verification, meaning the Auditor General's verification, coupled with the delayed provision of information, raised concerns about the accuracy of the reported expenditure of the $1.53 billion. So they provided the information, but they provided it after it was requested. And when it was provided, the Auditor General says, I'm not too sure if these figures are accurate. This really is troubling, because what it means is that you have the expenditure, you have the monies that are allocated, but you're not very sure as to how the monies have been spent. It's public funds, and the Auditor General has a right to question what you've done with the funds. We'll take a break. and come back with a further dive into the findings of the Auditor General.
Start your day with sunrise. Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. We kick things off in morning checkup. Are you powered up for the new year? Then we head to Money Masterclass. It's a Jamaica national takeover. Ever met a little genius? Well, we've got you covered in Kids Unfiltered, powered by Sunshine Snacks. From the sidelines to our studios, we bring you the 3-match netball series update. And we'll wrap things up with a 2025 fashion forecast in Styling It. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back to the lead story. I'm Daniel Archer, and we're having a deep dive into the Auditor General's report concerning irregularities at the municipal corporations. You heard about requests being made by the ministry, timely reports not being provided, and you may be saying to yourself, what's the purpose? Why do we need to know how they're spending their money? Because it's you paying the taxes. The monies are being allocated for poverty alleviation, people who need it, and if it's not going to the people who need it, where is it going? And that's why it's a concern. It's a concern particularly because we heard last week about the raid at that particular municipality in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. So you wonder to yourself, what are they doing with so much money? Where is it going? Why is it that they're not willing to do the reports and to account for the monies that have been allocated to them? And it is a cause for concern because I'll take your memory back. Do you recall that report by Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal some time ago, indicating that there were monies that were unaccounted for in the overall expenditure of the government? And whether you believe it or not, they had indicated that about 6 municipalities had not made their annual reports. Now there we have the question. What mechanism is in place to force them to do these reports? Merely indicating that you're not going to be providing any further funding, is that enough? Should we be asking for more accountability from the leaders in the parish councils? What is preventing them from accounting for these funds? What is preventing them from having an electronized system for the vouchers that can put in place some level of accountability? We're talking about transparency here. And at the end of the day, the real issue is, if you're saying that you're putting money for poor people to get homes, for poor people to be able to go to school, for poor people to be able to live, for you to meet the poor people at the point that they need that kind of assistance, and this is what the money is supposed to do, but it's not going there, we have to start asking these questions. And then you ask the question, but then you might want to say, so what me can do? What is it that I can do to ensure that there's greater accountability and transparency? This is where you start asking your members of parliament, your mayors, your councillors to account, to provide these reports, whether monthly or quarterly, and you want to see them because you have that right, you know. These are not private reports. These are reports that you have the right to see. And until we as the people start asking to see these reports and asking if they have submitted these reports on time, accountability will always just be a buzzword. It's interesting to look at the report on the social benefit programs, and you will note that 4 corporations, St. Anne, Portmore, St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew, were asked to verify the reported expenditure. During that verification process, they uncovered significant variances in the reported expenditure for 4 components of the program. Notably, variances were identified at the St. Anne, Portmore, and St. Catherine municipal corporations. They were requested to provide payment vouchers for the selected years. Payment vouchers. Some time ago, you remember that matter in Manchester, the Manchester Parish Council matter, where millions of dollars went missing? Same story with the payment vouchers. Same irregularities. So what we have is a systemic problem of the municipal corporations failing to account. Do we hold the minister responsible? We can't. He's not the one overseeing every municipal corporation. Do we hold the persons at the head of the municipal corporations accountable? We should. Do we hold the councillors responsible? We should. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are representing us and should be asking these questions. What is happening to the money? Why can't we account for it? What's the procedure? Where are the vouchers? What's the expenditure like? And that's what accountability is. Accountability at this level is intrinsically important because it is where we spend our funds. And if we can't account for it, and if there's not adequate explanation of our funds, then we would be paying taxes and monies are being allocated not for the benefit of the population, but for the benefit of individuals. And that cannot be the process involved or cannot be what public monies are used to do. The Auditor General's Department report on social benefit programs looked at the municipal corporation in the parish of St. Anne. It reported expenditure from 2020 to 2021 and 2022 to 2023 being 26.6 million. It verified expenditure of 18.2 million. The variance was 8.4 million, being 32% discrepancy. It reported an expenditure in 2023 to 2024 of $6 million. The verified expenditure was 11.6 million, and this certainly contradicts the reported figure. There we have it. More questions being put to us as to what is happening. The figures that you report don't match what is being spent. And the question really is, where did all this money go? To whom did it go? Do we now have to examine the contracts, but we don't have privy to the contracts because we don't have access to what these public contracts are? Nobody knows. Is it a secret? Should it be a secret? And why is it a secret? Should there be greater accountability in the parish councils? And what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for to put in accountability mechanisms in the parish councils to ensure adequate reporting and auditing of the expenditure and the monies that are allocated to the parish councils? What are we waiting for? Let's look at Portmore. The Portmore municipality reported expenditure between April 2020 and March 2024 of 22 million. Verified expenditure was 29.2 million. There was a variance of 7.2 million, being a discrepancy of 33%. That's a lot. 33% of you not knowing where the money going. 33%. Is there a better explanation than the fact that the vouchers can't be found? What's the explanation that we should expect from the parish councils to tell us why it is that they have not been providing accurate reporting of our money? These are monies that go towards not just the fixing the poor people funds, but not just the talk about the resources that are being provided by the municipalities, but these are things that we do every day, the picking up of garbage. If we don't know where the money going, is that explaining why we don't have sufficient garbage collection? Or is it that we could have more accountability and better services? I don't know. That's a matter for you. But when it comes to the accountability of public funds, that's a matter for all of us. And we should all be asking the question, where is this money going and who is going to be held responsible? And we certainly can't wait for charges to be dropped to say that they're investigating and they're going to implicate them and take them to court. There has to be a system in place that holds these persons accountable when they cannot explain where the monies have gone. In the private sector, that's what happens. Let's look at St. Catherine. Reported expenditure for April 2020 to March 2024, 125.5 million. What was verified? 73.5 million. What was the variance? 41%, being $52 million. You know how much $52 million can buy? You know how much 52 million can do in a community? Let's look around our communities and start doing the math to see what could be done with the money that we can't account for. And that is why accountability is important. Because we get the money, and this is not a question where we can say we don't have the funds, The funds are there, but nobody don't know where the funds gone. The vouchers are not connecting with what has been spent. There is no adequate explanation coming. And so we need to ask the question, where is the rest of the money? Is there an explanation that the Auditor General was not provided with? Because as the Auditor General being the chief auditor, and this is not something new. This is something that has been ingrained in our national development from before we became independent, that the Auditor General is responsible for ensuring that there is adequate expenditure and adequate accounting, and that we know what the effectiveness of these programs are. Because at the end of the day, it's our money, and we must know how it has been spent. Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, they did a sample of 1,263 vouchers valuing 150.6 million. 239 vouchers valuing 13.3 million could not be verified due to missing documentation. So where the document them go? Where they're missing? What do you mean you can't find them? You don't have electronic copies? You don't have backup copies? You don't have a copy of the copy of the copy? It's people money you're talking about. So where are the missing documentation? Who carried them? Where them gone? What happened to them? And when we continuously have this conversation about missing documentation, it reminds us that we need to become more accountable. We need to have these systems in place. It cannot be that we're going to accept as a people that you telling me that you can't find the documents is sufficient. But don't wait for the civil society organizations to call out and ask you to do something. As the citizen of the parish, you hear say the money not there. You must have a responsibility to start asking these questions of your parish council, whether by sending a letter, whether by making a call. You must take that responsibility of demanding accountability from your parish councils. If they don't use the money wisely, we cannot get the good services that we ought to have in our communities. When we looked at St. Anne, did you recognize that it incurred a cost of $11.5 million for administrative support to deliver benefits of only $4.1 million? That makes sense to you? We spend more than the value of what we're paying out. And when they did the site visits to the 4 municipal corporations, they noted that the administrative support payments of $30,000 monthly were being made to various individuals' bank accounts for administrative services at the request of councillors. So, more questions. Who have a bank account? Who are these people to the councillors? Can councillors make these requests? What is the system that is in place to ensure that we do not pay monies to persons who don't need it? The questions continue, and there are lots more slides that you can go through. The report is dense, and I'm sure that that is going to be more fodder for us to have a discussion. But that's it for this evening's lead story. I'm Daniel Archer, and the news is up next.
No more fear of missing out. CVM action from now until the end of the season on CVM TV's Monday Match Night. Matchday Mondays at 7:45 p.m. with rebroadcast Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Nothing else can quite match up. Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
You can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of
Your Love Lives On with life insurance from Sagicor.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, $33 million unaccounted for in KSAMC social benefits. No new taxes, government highlights tax relief efforts, and JDF to improve cyber ops through Event Horizon. In the business report, breaking barriers of entry to entrepreneurship, while in sports, Sunshine Girls eager to do battle with South Africa. From Kingston, Jamaica, it's Wednesday, January 15, 2025. Thanks so much for making it CVM News 7. I'm Curlin Brown in for Nika Lewis. The KSAMC is facing renewed scrutiny over its management of social benefit programs. Under a previous administration, an audit reveals over $33 million of unaccounted benefits for the poor, highlighting broader issues with the island's social safety network. Raman Gordon tells us more.
The funds were part of the Municipal Social Assistance Program, which aims to assist vulnerable Jamaicans. However, an audit covering the period of 2018 to 2022 revealed that of the $63.3 million dispersed, only $30.3 million could be properly accounted for. This sum funded 4 houses, 2 for fire victims and 2 for persons without stable housing. Auditors found no evidence of beneficiaries for the remaining $33 million. The findings also uncovered broader gaps in oversight. While funeral grants were supported by social investigation reports, education grants lacked the relevant social investigations to verify eligibility. The local government ministry was also flagged for incomplete data on beneficiaries between 2018 and 2024. Meanwhile, the short-term poverty alleviation project disbursed $726.4 million since 2017 without cabinet approval or clear oversight. Social workers were found to be overwhelmed, managing an average of 2,089 beneficiaries each, far exceeding the international standard of 100. The Auditor General is urging the government to address these discrepancies by implementing long overdue reforms. Among the recommendations in the December report, establishing a database to track all beneficiaries across programs, developing standard rules for consistent implementation, and updating the Poor Relief Act to reflect modern social welfare standards. Attempts to reach former Mayor Delroy Williams for comment were ineffective up to news time. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Delroy Chuck is voicing his discontent with the Integrity Commission about the Prime Minister's name being repeatedly mentioned in reports despite no evidence of corruption being presented. The minister made the remarks at Tuesday's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee meeting. Courtney Lewis has the details.
In an ironic turn, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is questioning the integrity of the Integrity Commission, IC. He believes the IC has been unfair towards the Prime Minister, citing issue with the Commission's latest report connecting Wholeness to real estate company Estate Bridge Holdings.
And in none of these 3 reports, Chairman, has it been demonstrated that there's an act of corruption, any wrongdoing. The Prime Minister had not involved in any of these companies, but his name is still called. And the Prime Minister is alleged, said, why is he being targeted? He's not a member of the company. He had divested himself of the shares. And it worries me, Chairman, as a member of the Oversight Committee, that when you go about sending reports to Parliament, there's no indication that the member on which you're reporting is implicated in any way.
Chuck says he also finds the Commission's investigative methods inappropriate and further advised members of Parliament not to divulge personal family information.
Why is the Integrity Commission asking members to indicate the salaries of their spouse? I mean, or sometimes of their children. And you see, I don't know if this is something that is appropriate, Chairman, because I have advised the relevant member, let them know your spouse is not prepared to divulge their salary to her or him, and therefore he or she cannot so report it.
Chuck wants limits to be placed on the IC's scope of investigation, citing a section of the IC Act which prevents the Commission from sharing its investigations before a tabling in Parliament. He alluded to the long-standing question of who are the illicit eight. But Shadow Finance Minister Julian Robinson is questioning how that may unfold as the IC generates annual reports.
Obviously, the one that will attract most attention relates to what parliamentarians may be involved in, and specifically illicit enrichment. But I don't think we can categorize it as unfair when the Commission is simply reporting on its work.
Chuck says with continued speculation, parliamentarians face undue scrutiny.
I don't think it is fair, Chairman, to parliamentarians that it should be there hanging out whether the investigation is still continuing, whether one or two have been exonerated, there are no further investigation, or whether all 8 are still being investigated. Since you have reported it, let us know.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
Well, following those comments, the minister has been facing backlash from experts in the field who believe he is not setting the right example for his colleagues. Trisha Gay Kelly picks up that story.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has come under heavy scrutiny following his comments at the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee meeting on Tuesday. The minister has advised members of Parliament to withhold their spouse and children's salary details from the Integrity Commission. However, in referencing the statement, political commentators including Damian Gordon believe the minister has wrongly advised his fellow colleagues as the measure is solely to rule out corruption.
It is absolutely necessary for the financial assets of all of the immediate family members of elected officials to be subject to the same level of scrutiny as the elected officials themselves, especially since it is standard practice in organized crime for individuals to use cronies and relatives as covers to hide their ill-gotten wealth.
Gordon adds the country's current policies make it possible for elected officials to get away with malfeasances. For this reason, he says the IC requirement is a must-have.
But how else will the relevant authorities conduct comprehensive investigations into corruption and illicit enrichment and uphold the principle of full disclosure if all the members of the households of elected officials are not considered for investigation? Let's be clear, this has been the standard for all ordinary public sector employees for years.
And he's not the only one with this stance. Principal Director at the National Integrity Action, Daniel Archer, is also concerned about Minister Chuck's comments.
The entity, being the Integrity Commission, can properly ask for this information. So if they ask for the information and you decide not to give it to them, you are breaking the law. So is the goodly minister asking and telling ministers as an attorney that they are to break the law?
Archer further notes that the IC's requirement ensures elected officials are not involved in illicit enrichment.
I'm really unclear, and I would really appreciate knowing the context of what it is that he has said. It can't be that's what he has said. Because if he has said it, he has to retract it. Because it would not be representative of what the goodly function of the Minister of Justice should be, and it certainly can't be a good example to follow.
Other interested parties have remarked that the requirement had never been an issue before now and are questioning the minister's motive. They also opine that only individuals who are in breach of the IC regulations would have an issue with the policy. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
The Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, FNID, in St. Andrew seized over $80 million worth of cocaine in a major drug bust at Charlton Court, St. Andrew, on January 8. Arrested is 63-year-old property manager Alan Patrick Constable, who is now facing multiple charges, including possession, trafficking and conspiracy to traffic cocaine. Acting on intelligence, police intercepted a grey Toyota Hiace at the gate of an apartment, leading to the discovery of 122 parcels of cocaine weighing 295 pounds inside the apartment. The operation was part of a string of recent successes. Now, just days earlier, 42 pounds of cocaine were seized in Lilliput, St. James, leading to the arrest of tour operator Christopher Keddo. In St. Elizabeth, a 58-year-old farmer, George Scott, was charged after 23 kilograms of cocaine were found hidden in a speaker box in his vehicle. The police high command calls the seizures a significant blow to narcotics traffickers, reaffirming the commitment to pursue and prosecute those involved in illicit activities. Court dates for the accused are being finalized. A 24-year-old man wanted for multiple murders in Clarendon was fatally shot by the police during an operation in Hopewell, Hanover on Wednesday morning. He has been identified as Nirod Cameron, who was reportedly hiding in the Wharf Road area in the community. The police say Cameron, who was wanted for a double murder in 2024, allegedly pointed a firearm at the officers when they confronted him in a downstairs room of a two-story house. The lawmen responded, fatally wounding him, and the firearm with live rounds were retrieved. Cameron was taken to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, is probing that incident. Stay where you are. We'll take a short break, but we'll be right back.
Sagicor Bank, we know that feeling.
When you finally find a place
that has your name written all over it, where you can settle down and turn it into a home. So we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home faster and easier.
Including a $2 million line of credit I'm using to go solar.
Put down roots with a mortgage from Sagicor Bank.
Start your day with sunrise. Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. We kick things off in morning checkup. Are you powered up for the new year? Then we head to Money Masterclass. It's a Jamaica national takeover. Ever met a little genius? Well, we've got you covered in Kids Unfiltered, powered by Sunshine Snacks. From the sidelines to our studios, we bring you the 3-match netball series update. And we'll wrap things up with a 2025 fashion forecast in Styling It. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
25 for 25. Millions are given to 25 customers. Switch to Digi. You could win $1 million. Digicel is giving away 25 mil. It's a great time to switch to Digicel. Visit the Digicel store today. Purchase smartphones as low as $10K. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. Get a top-up of $20 US from overseas. Or gift the plan for more entries. Any of these could make you a winner. Conditions apply. The 25 for 25 promotion is authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion lasts from January 3rd to February 6th. 25 for 25. Digicel. Better connected.
And we welcome you back with the news that the government has reinforced its tax reduction strategy, pointing to measures introduced last year as evidence of its commitment to easing financial burdens on Jamaicans, even as the opposition proposes redirecting taxes to fund agricultural development. Finance Minister Favour Williams addressed the matter at the first post-cabinet press briefing of the year, about which Britannia Witter reports.
Finance Minister Favour Williams reaffirmed the government's focus on tax relief, spotlighting the efforts to strengthen the economy while easing the financial pressures on citizens.
This government is reducing taxes, not proposing to increase taxes.
Williams outlined several initiatives codified in Parliament on Tuesday, including a reduced corporate tax rate of 25% for renewable energy producers and increased income tax exemptions for pensioners.
By creating an enabling fiscal environment through these measures, this government is working to strengthen Jamaica's economic framework while addressing social and environmental challenges. This balanced approach underscores this government's commitment to fostering economic growth, reducing inequity, and building a more sustainable future.
The minister also reiterated the success of the Junior Stock Exchange, which saw its capitalization limit increase from 500 million to 750 million last year. She highlighted the exchange as a critical driver of growth for small and medium-sized enterprises.
We expect to see more companies list because we know that a big benefit of stock markets is the ability of individuals to become shareholders of companies that they would not otherwise have the opportunity to do. And again, we believe in broadening markets and increasing opportunities for all Jamaicans. And we view the junior market as a significant accomplishment, not only for this administration, but the country, Jamaica as a whole.
Meanwhile, the opposition People's National Party has proposed redirecting taxes on imported food to fund agricultural modernization. Opposition spokesperson on agriculture, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says the plan would secure sustainable resources for land preparation and attract young people to farming. The proposal has drawn criticism for potentially increasing food prices and conflicting with international trade agreements. However, PNP President Mark Golding clarified that the plan involves relocating existing taxes rather than introducing new ones. While Williams did not directly address the opposition's plan, she reiterated the government's focus on reducing taxes and facilitating economic growth.
And ultimately, we expect that this will lead to further economic growth and development. And here again, I have to stress, we are reducing taxes, not increasing taxes.
As for plans to increase the income tax threshold, Williams said it was too early to consider such a move with the fiscal year just ending. Britannia Wito, CVM News.
The Office of the Children's Advocate is again urging parents to be more vigilant following the deaths of 3 children in Sunday's house fire. While investigations are ongoing, the Children's Advocate is leaning on the law for evidence-based prosecution. Courtney Lewis has our follow-up.
Take no chances is the word from Jamaica's Children's Advocate as concerns of child neglect come to the fore once again. Mrs. Diane Gordon Harrison encourages parents and guardians to think ahead, even in the simplest moments.
So always assume that the worst could happen in the one moment that you decide that you're going to step away. So if you're going to take that approach, it means that we never leave our children unsupervised.
Child neglect goes as far as lack of access to health and education, but even no supervision can lead to legal consequences. The conversations come after the tragic loss of 3 children to a house fire on Sunday, a matter still under investigation.
I certainly have seen these investigations, and the police have already signaled and indicated very publicly that the very tragic circumstances that led to the loss of these 3 little ones are being investigated, and that it is with a view to see if a criminal matter can be raised. And so I look forward to the outcome of that investigation.
Meanwhile, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, is providing support to the sibling which survived the devastating blaze.
Our Child and Family Support Unit is providing psychosocial support to the surviving child. This will include assisting with replacing essential items such as clothing, school uniforms, and important documents. We will also be ensuring that the child is returned to school when he is psychologically ready. We have also referred the child to the Ministry of Justice's Victim Services Division to ensure that he receives the psychological support needed to help him cope with this profound loss.
Gordon Harrison says these cases are not most prevalent, but investigations and prosecutions are arising.
So what it means is that though we don't believe in wide-scale criminalization of parents, because parents need support and need to be guided and so on, what the law is signaling within our own local framework is that there is an impatience with parents who are so grossly negligent. What we're saying is that if the evidence is there to support a charge and the case being prosecuted, then that certainly is going to be advanced because it is a serious matter and our local legislation does provide the framework for those prosecutions to flow.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
The Tourism Ministry is pushing ahead in 2025 with plans to boost visitor arrivals and revenue. The minister, undeterred by industry changes, highlights a $4 billion revenue achievement in 2024. Courtney Lewis also has that report.
Unlike many preaching fair and job cuts, the Tourism Ministry welcomes the introduction of advanced technology as artificial intelligence emerges. Minister Edmund Bartlett says he remains undeterred as the sector advances.
We don't worry about machine intelligence and what AI is saying that it can do. And we know it will be able to do much. It is human intelligence that will give efficacy to machine intelligence.
He says continued investment into the sector and its employee stakeholders remains important as technology revolutionizes the global market.
But whatever the scene is going to be about people. And the industry that is most related to people will survive, and that's tourism. Invest in tourism, you'll be investing in the people, and you'll be investing in the future of the world.
Tourism took major blows in 2024 with the implementation of travel advisories and frequent hurricanes. But as the country continues to recover, Bartlett celebrates the sector's achievements.
We are seeing an uptick also in our revenue for the period. And we are looking now at 4.27 million visitors for 2024 and $4.35 billion of earnings.
With greater things in sight, the minister says work will continue to meet its 5x5 goal, 5 million visitors and earning $5 billion, a target the sector fell shy of due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
In 2019, we were just at the edge of 4 billion and 4 million visitors. And then came COVID. And COVID sent us back to zero. Notwithstanding COVID, and to report to you that at the end of 24, we are 4.27 million visitors of the 5 and 4.35 billion of the 5.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
Still more CVM News at 7 right after this.
At Sagicor Bank, we know that feeling.
When you finally find a place
that has your name written all over it, where you can settle down and turn it into a home. So we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home faster and easier.
Including a $2 million line of credit I'm using to go solar.
Put down roots with a mortgage from Sagicor Bank.
You can get so much more when you shop on credit at Courts. Get more of the furniture, appliances, and electronic brands you love with up to 30% off all January. Get more flexibility with low monthly payments and up to 48 months to repay. Get more of what you need right away and pay later. Get more convenient repayment methods via Courts.com, bank transfer, or in-store. Get more protection for your purchase with Super Shield. Get more value with Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Did you know that there are many exciting careers in public health? Join the Ministry of Health and Wellness for its Health and Wellness Career Expo and Employment Fair 2025, Wednesday and Thursday, January 22nd and 23rd on the UWI campus. Learn about exciting and emerging career opportunities in public health. Walk with your resume for on-site interviews for available jobs across the island. Entertainment, giveaways, and free health screening. We've got them. Admission free. A career in health, the roadmap to success.
Welcome back. We're going to switch things up a bit to find out what's happening on social media.
So, what's trending in our local social media spaces? Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang reports that repairs to cables connecting Jamaica Eye cameras are ongoing. Chang cited maintenance issues, specifically cabling problems, which were exacerbated by contractors' lack of equipment and capacity to respond quickly. Here are some of your reactions. At Padworthy writes, and they say crime is a priority. At Fitty Graffiti comments, love the way pushing that. Only wish you were pushing for the body cams. At The Jubilant says, in progress forever. At Impy_KGN3 asks, it no fix yet? At GD Emperor posts, oh yes, update the criminals on the progress. At Snakehead Music shares, that's still not going to stop crime from going. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Courtney Lewis.
And we'll continue with a look at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. The commissioner of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, is in Belize to meet with government officials. Mohammed Salam, a key figure in the organization, arrived in Belize on an invitation from the Belize People's Front, BPF. Love FM's newsroom met Salam at the airport and spoke to him about the importance of the visit and what it aims to achieve.
We are looking forward, to have some discussion with the Prime Minister to enforce the ICC decisions, the ICJ decision, and also hopefully we can stop the settlement product coming to Belize, if any, on the agriculture thing. And also we are hoping to have hopefully some kind of scholarship between the University of Belize and also the Palestinian universities in Palestine. Our visit is very important to, first of all, to thank Belize for their stance, on what's going on in Palestine. Belize was one of the countries that stood, with the Palestinian people after the October 7th genocide war that Israel committed.
As the region enters its peak travel and tourism season, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is recommending that CARICOM member states improve surveillance systems for respiratory illnesses. That report from TTT News.
The Caribbean Public Health Agency is calling for strengthened monitoring due to rising reports of respiratory illnesses, including human metapneumovirus. CARPHA recommends that CARICOM member states improve surveillance systems for respiratory illnesses and is urging that non-pharmaceutical measures be put in place for visitors arriving by air and sea. In late 2024, HMPV cases surged in northern China. Reports of infections have also emerged from India, Malaysia, Kazakhstan, and the United Kingdom.
And in international news, after 15 months of Israel's war on Gaza, negotiators have now reached a ceasefire agreement. Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesperson Majed Al-Ansari has told Al Jazeera that both Israel and Hamas have agreed for the ceasefire deal to take effect on Sunday, January 19.
Well, it's been more than 410 days since the end of the first pause, and we have been working tirelessly with our partners in Egypt and the United States to make sure that we get to this point of a sustainable deal, which will begin as stated on Sunday. Obviously, the work in tandem of both administrations, incoming and outgoing administrations in the United States, was very beneficial and helpful. We have seen, of course, Brett McGurk and Steve Witkoff, who the Prime Minister has personally thanked in his statements today, being very influential in the process and in the talks. But I have to say that it's a collective efforts that have taken place since the 8th of October till today by the teams who have been working on this in Doha, in Egypt, in the United States, all across the region and beyond. It's the collective effort of all of these individuals, institutions and states that made us get to this point.
And that's it for regional and international news.
More in a moment.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is...
Did you know that there are many exciting careers in public health? Join the Ministry of Health and Wellness for its Health and Wellness Career Expo and Employment Fair 2025, Wednesday and Thursday, January 22nd and 23rd on the UWI Mona campus. Learn about exciting and emerging career opportunities in public health. Walk with your resume for on-site interviews for available jobs across the island. Entertainment, giveaways, and free health screening. We've got them. Admission free. A career in health, the roadmap to success.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Delicious, crispy, irresistible. Now available in hot and spicy. KFC, it's finger licking good.
JPS. Aye, my JPS app. The mobile app, brave as I said app. With the mobile app, you feel know you can't flop the app. In a happiness, cause what? My JPS app easy to not riddle my light of it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, me I tell you about it in the tune. My JPS app easy to not riddle for me light of it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, yeah we fully outside with the crew.
JPS, powering what matters.
Glad you stayed with us. And it's time now for the Business Report with Joel Crossgill.
Lots to contemplate with you in the Business Report today, as we consider what thoughts may come along the journey for prospective entrepreneurs, caught between the fear of missing out on a unique time in history for the pursuit and the potential challenges associated with the risk. During the Scotiabank Women Initiative held during the summer at an educational workshop entitled Going for Growth, Planning the Future, Scotiabank Director Audrey Richards asked those gathered to consider the following.
Whenever I think of the entrepreneurial journey, I remember a quote from Shakespeare. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Some entrepreneurs set out from day one to be entrepreneurs. Maybe they are born with if there is an entrepreneurial gene. Some do set up the business based on their expertise or their experience, and some fall into entrepreneurship.
No matter the pathway, Richards admits that an often cited barrier to entry has traditionally been the availability of capital, a dynamic that her work as a private capital consultant with the Development Bank of Jamaica has gone some way to untangling.
The government has, through the DBJ and other entities, has funded grant programs, has established credit guarantees, and provided support to the development of the private capital market.